Boom.
I feel
Mic
like
check.
I should be beatboxing right now.
Yeah, old school stuff.
Bryan on the mic. You got to start freestyling.
Like, hey.
We do the ASMR. Welcome to the catch up.
It's from like
I
that.
don't know where the wave of the ASMRs come from. I just feel like people are just making money off whispering, and at this point in time, I'm just like, you know what?
I might join in that wave.
I can't be mad. Give me a surfboard. Let me ride that wave too, because you're gonna sit there and whisper into a mic. There's a commercial. I think it's Heineken,
Uh-huh.
and in the commercial, it's like, oh, Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah, Lenny Kravitz's daughter. She's an
Okay,
actress.
yeah.
And she has like the Hawaiian background.
Uh-huh.
And she's sitting in front of a mic. It looks like in the random field.
Yeah.
Like, and it's obviously Hawaii. It can't be anywhere else. I'm assuming it's Hawaii. Some tropical island. I'm going to say it's Hawaii. And she's sitting there and she's literally opening the bottle and it's like, and she's whispering into the mic like, can you feel the Christmas?
That sounds like an old school Sprite commercial.
It should be a Sprite.
Yeah.
Sprite needs to jump on that because they've always done the obey the thirst, crack open, and hear the sound of it. But no, it's Zoe Kravitz, and she's sitting there, and every time the commercial comes on, I'm just like, this is marketing now. This is how people are making money. like it's just like, okay, yeah, I guess. You know what I mean?
Let's just run with
Let's
it.
just whisper. Let's just whisper into microphones and calm people down. So welcome to the catch up.
Boom. And just be like, hey, I'm talking to you now. This is how we make money too.
Right,
I gotta talk like I'm a child's character.
Just do the whole podcast whispering. Do the whole podcast
It's like,
whispering.
hey, Chunky, my name is Candy. Like, I love chips and I love like sweets. You know, like Jolly Ranchers.
Oh, absolutely. But wow, he just got a real deep voice. Absolutely. That's his voice. There you go.
Okay.
Absolutely. But I don't have it all the time.
All the time.
Not all the time. I choose more fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll have some candy and like Halloween. I love Halloween. I'll have
Yeah.
candy on Halloween. But after that, I don't have it every single day.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
The chocolate's so good too.
I prefer
like
dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate?
Dark chocolate's healthier for you.
Really?
Yeah. Dark chocolate is awesome.
Nice. Drop that intro.
Boom.
Volume. Good.
ASMR.
Ready. All right.
Some clear the throat.
Yeah.
Start harmonizing.
La.
La, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
I kind of always wish I wanted to like sing in chorus or something.
Why not? Why didn't you?
I played an instrument. I played clarinet in high school.
Oh, stop playing.
Yeah.
I played the trumpet in elementary school, and this goes to show you like the importance of teachers. The teacher was horrible.
Oh.
And so I was just kind of like, okay, she's always yelling.
Yeah.
And trying to use my thing.
What do you mean?
The mouthpiece.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's gross.
Yeah, that's
It's
really gross.
I was just like, yeah, we're good. That's good. But yeah, it just kind of fell off. How long did you play the clarinet?
I think I only did for two years.
2
2 years
years?
and 1 year in middle school.
If I were to give you a clarinet right now, what would you be able to play? Anything.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I'll play a note.
So holding it like a sword.
This is like, yeah, this is how I played it.
This is how I play the clarinet.
Remember the hardest part about playing clarinet was just like the lips. Like,
Yeah.
you have to like really wet your lips and
Yeah.
then playing with the reed.
Right.
Like sometimes you get the squeak.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing with the trumpet, because the trumpet you had to like create like a tiny hole.
Oh.
And like blow, like you had to like you had to keep all your mouth closed except for like this. So it's like you're kind of like a dolphin in a way. You know what I mean?
So like puckered lips, like
yeah, not really puckered,
Oh.
but just like it's hard to do. Like it's hard to do without having it pressed up. Like I just remember like doing it, and like to this day, like a friend of mine,
Yeah.
Yafim, he's a musician, awesome musician. I think his Instagram is Theme Music @ThemeMusic. So yeah,
Okay.
people should check it out.
Yeah.
He's a multi-instrumentalist.
Is he like a
And-
jazz artist?
No, he's
Oh.
a hip hop producer, but
Oh.
I mean he does it all. Like
Okay.
you want to talk about jazz, but he played the trumpet for years.
Yeah.
And and the trumpet that is occasionally like my son will go visit him and stuff, and then we'll end up playing around with the trumpet too over there. And like I still remember how to
play,
but don't ask me to play a song. I just know how to blow so that sound will come out, because otherwise it'll just be air.
Right.
So, but yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
Well, to bring that up, welcome to episode 44 of the Catch Up Podcast, the #1 podcast where you feed your curiosity. And we have a returning guest, Joseph Vivens, the creator of Chunky and Friends.
Hello, everyone.
Boom.
Hello. Thanks for having me on, Bryan. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you for coming back.
Yeah.
Progress is progress. I love it.
That's right. Last time I was here, we were saying before we started, I didn't wear a shirt. So today I'm shamelessly plugging chunkyandfriends.com.
If you're listening to this on iTunes, Spotify, whatever, go check it out on YouTube.
Chunkyandfriends.com. Definitely check it out. But yeah, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, the name of the podcast is The Catch Up. Have you ever caught up with anybody else? After, am I the first return guest that you've had, or have you had return guests before?
I just did season 2 started maybe like a month or 2 ago.
Oh, okay.
So I have maybe like three people returning guests.
Okay.
And just seeing their progressions.
So I'm the fourth one?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. See? I should get my jersey in the rafters.
Just
get the Chunky and Friends logo up high.
Retired.
Caught up. That's what it is.
Oh, that'd be dope if I just hung one of your tees just in the background.
Why not? Do a Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Catch Up Hall of Fame. There you go.
That'd be super dope. I got an own studio just hanging up.
That's right.
My background.
That's right.
Well, so what's been going on, man? I see you going to New York. You're traveling everywhere, trying to promote the book.
Yeah. I mean, so if I were to begin, the last time I was here, I was either just releasing or just released the second book in the series called The Candy Conundrum.
Yes.
First of all, for the audience, so my book series is called Chunky and Friends. I created it to jumpstart the conversation with kids about the importance of healthy eating and active play. And the first book that I released is called Chunky and the Obese, and it's about a 10-year-old boy, Chunky, who goes to the doctor with his mother. And at the doctor's office, the doctor tells him he's in danger of becoming obese. But being a kid with a very vivid imagination, he thinks he's going to transform into a creature in the shape of the letter O, so an O-beast. So it's an awesome book. It has
double entendres.
Exactly.
Welcome back to the hip-hop world.
Exactly. Play on words. I'm a sucker for puns. So, I created this book because I wanted kids to have something to look at to say, oh, okay, everything turns out right for this character. Yeah. Therefore, everything turns out okay for me. The biggest inspiration for me for writing the book series is Popeye the Sailor, because he used to eat spinach, get super strong, knock out Bluto. Yeah. Don't promote violence. but that was the impetus for the book. I wanted something that kids can look at and say, oh, you know what? A character like Chunky doesn't have candy every day, so maybe I shouldn't have candy every day. Because for me, what it all boils down to is making sure our kids grow up healthy and strong. Right. That's what the book series is all about. And so the last time I was here, I had the Candy Conundrum, which is all about the importance of brushing, flossing, and choosing fruit over candy. And this time around, since then, a lot has happened in terms of promoting and marketing and bringing awareness for the book series, because everything has been growing.
Right.
And so with the growth that we've been having, I wanted to really push to get the book series to the next phase. That means doing more traveling into other cities that I've never been to. Also start developing new products for that can promote healthy eating and active play, or even just to bring about more awareness for the character. And finally, the most important thing is that we really want to have a animated series developed.
I saw that.
Yeah, and so last year last year. I think the last time I was here was about 2 years ago. So last year,
late 2017.
Yeah. So last year, mid 2018, we started getting phone calls from interested parties that were like, "Hey, this is a really cool idea.
Yeah,
we want to get it on this platform."
Right.
And so in those conversations, we noticed that it was a lot of, this is what should be done. and it was
Oh.
taking away from the spirit of what Chunky and Friends
The
is.
creative genius.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. And I mean, I don't mind the creative process. That's
Yeah.
always important.
Right.
But there's a core to what Chunky and Friends is about. There's a purity in it.
Yeah.
Where if that is violated,
Uh-huh.
then you lose the essence of what the product is.
Right.
You know, when you're branding anything, the identity of the brand is important.
Right.
You know, and a couple of things that are very important to me when it comes to Chunky and Friends is making sure that the integrity is intact. Because whenever you're dealing with characters in media that are of a certain size, there's certain tropes that people expect.
Okay.
And I don't buy into that.
Okay.
I've never met an overweight person that does what media considers like what overweight people do. You know, like for example, eating a lot or playing with their stomach, or you know, like literally,
Oh.
just
The
the
high school
cliche
stuff.
Yeah, the
Okay.
cliche high school stuff. You know, for the most part, people that are overweight or fat, as a lot of people like to say, they just live their lives.
Right.
You know what I mean? And with the Chunky and Friends series, what we want to emphasize for the kids is that it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. It's all about what's happening inside your body,
Okay.
and making sure that they grow up healthy and strong.
Right.
Now, of course, if you do want to, as an adult, you do want to have a certain look, then of course go for it, work for it.
Okay.
But what we want for kids is to understand that being healthy is more important than anything else.
Would you say like self-esteem is a big
Absolutely.
factor into that?
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about things like self-esteem, a lot of times it is about how others perceive you.
Right.
You know, that feeds into the self-esteem because outside of looking in the mirror,
Yeah.
you're not really seeing yourself.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like in terms of your physical appearance.
Yeah, I know in the fitness world it's called body dysmorphia.
Right.
When you look at yourself, you may be skinny, but then you see yourself as like overweight.
Exactly. And so that's the reason why with Chunky and Friends we have the hashtag Think Healthy that we use a lot.
Oh.
Because what we want to do for kids and for generations coming forward is that we want to put the health into their mind.
Okay.
Like we want to make sure that instead of trying to quote unquote look healthy, we want them to think healthy.
Okay.
Because too often we hear stories of somebody who is, oh my God, they seem so healthy. How could they have a heart attack at 37?
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
They had some bad
you're
decisions.
focused. Exactly. You're focusing
Yeah.
on the wrong thing.
Right.
You know, we want to focus on what's happening inside, because when you give somebody a pass because of the way that they look,
Yeah.
then, if they are sitting there having daily eating hamburgers and pizza,
Yeah.
but they don't gain any weight, you're kind of like, oh, well, it's okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not gaining any weight. It's
Yeah.
fine.
They look fine.
But
on
in
the outside.
in the meantime, their arteries are getting clogged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're
can't, like,
pre-diabetic.
walk a flight of stairs without like being out of breath.
Exactly. And then on the same token, they're less likely to go visit the doctor because they're like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I can eat whatever I want.
I can
fine.
definitely relate a lot of stories with that.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what we want to do is, and on the flip side of that, when you have somebody who is overweight,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? We're more mindful, like, oh, should you be eating that? Do you want to have that donut? Do you want to have this? When it's really across the board, everybody should be practicing moderation.
Right.
Everybody should be making better choices because, again, it's not about what you look like on the outside. So to your point about self-esteem, it is more about focusing on what's happening inside. You know, we want kids to think healthy because, if the conversation on the playground is more, well, I had an apple for a snack and you had Cheetos.
Yeah.
And that's the teasing that goes back and forth. I feel like that's okay. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Instead of like, oh my God, you're fat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like that can actually cause a lot more psychological damage to a kid than it's like, well, I had this and you had that. I made the better choice. And most likely that kid will be like, well, I can make the same choice too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's just a theory that I'm working with.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the area.
You grew up in the area?
Yeah. Well, I was born in Haiti, lived in D.C., and then moved to Silver Spring when I was like 13, I think.
So you went to like the
13.
down county schools.
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause
Yeah.
I did too. And what I remember is like I remember every day walking home from school, everyone would meet up at the ice cream truck a
Yeah.
block away from the school.
Yeah.
And then it would just be the classic. I would have a wrap snacks and Big Burst.
Wrap snacks.
Never had that.
I've never had wrap snacks.
Wrap snacks.
That's
were,
like I remember them.
yeah.
But you just make me feel a little bit older because I remember seeing them and I'm like, yo, wrap snacks, like because they had Lil Jon on it. And stuff.
Lil Jon, Bow Wow.
Yes.
And then it would just be like barbecue flavor. It would be like
Right.
regular Lay's.
Yeah.
But different branding.
With raps.
Yeah.
with raps with artists on it. Yeah.
Yeah. But then it's like that. I want to think about that. Like, we didn't have options like that. And I remember, actually, just recently, I'm networking with a lot more people who are athletes.
Yeah.
And they're from up county, like Northwest, Potomac, Whitman. And they would tell me they have different foods.
Yeah. So it's kind of
like, to me, that's like the bigger like underlying issues. Like
it is.
the access.
It is the access is the bigger underlying issue, and it's something that I've come to notice more and more as I travel, and even the more events that I do out in the community in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, you do, and you can feel the difference in what kind of access that the kids and people in the community have.
Yeah.
Like, for example, really it has to do with resources.
Right.
One of the things that I always try to promote whenever I'm out and about and whenever I'm doing events, is that I encourage communities to ask for farmers markets.
Okay.
You know, the reason why is because a lot of these producers, they're willing to go anywhere. You know, they're willing to go to any community really to sell their products. And the reason why I emphasize that is because, you know, a lot of areas out, you know, in Baltimore or even in the DC area, a lot of them don't have a lot of corner stores and they don't have the right choices in there. Right. You know, and to be able to get those right things, the things that'll help kids grow up healthier and stronger, you have to go to the grocery store. Yeah. And a lot of times people don't have the means to go to a grocery store, or even kids like us who would basically walk home. Yeah. You know what I mean? A lot of times going to the grocery store is much further away than it is to go to like the neighborhood corner store to pick up wrap snacks and a iced tea or something like that. Or
just even the ice cream truck.
Or the ice cream truck. Right. And so, you know, what we want to do, what I always try to emphasize to do, and I try to help parents understand this too, is to realize the power that you have in your community. Okay. Because I think that in this day and age, like a lot of times in specific neighborhoods, we forget that our representatives are our employees. Not to get political, but you know, like our congressmen, our senators. At the end of the day, if you're a taxpaying citizen, these people work for you. Yeah. And so being able to have access and to demand certain things from them will give them action, because you have to imagine that if you are one person calling your congressman and saying, hey, this is an issue, this is what's happening in my community, I want to change X, Y, Z. Like, for example, I hear that there's a program, for example, there's a CHIP program where SNAP, where basically they provide funds so that people in certain communities can get discounts on produce at the farmer's market. Okay. If you call them and you say, hey, we don't have a farmer's market close enough, can you help us get a farmer's market in the community? In their mind, or even if there's a pothole, any issue that you have in your community, in their mind, what they're thinking is that every voter in that district or every voter in the state or in that area are discussing this. This is the topic of discussion.
But that people are just keep it internalized, and that's the biggest issue.
That's the issue. They don't make those phone calls.
Right.
So, you know, if we're talking about having more access and having more removing the food deserts, it is as simple as making those phone calls and demanding. And even if you know of a farmers market conglomerate in your neighborhood or in the next town over, call them. Tell them, hey, we want what you have over there on that side of town in our community too.
I just realized too, like just this past weekend, I think it was like a grand reopening of the Dutch market over in Germantown or Seneca.
Yeah.
They have like the big pig roast.
Yeah.
And I think it would be amazing if we ever had that like in the Wheaton, Silver Spring area.
Exactly. And I don't know if Wheaton and Silver Spring. I haven't been to those areas. I know Silver Spring, downtown Silver Spring has a farmers market, but there are a lot of like right Ellsworth.
Oh yeah,
near the movie theater,
downtown,
like literally downtown. I know they have a farmers market. Tacoma Park has a farmers market.
But have you been to that Dutch market? That's like a legit
it's
store.
Huge.
Yeah,
it's. I mean, it's the Amish market too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. They have awesome blueberry pies. You ever had that blueberry pies?
you had that fried chicken.
Nah, I've never had fried chicken. The blueberry pie is like, it's to die for, man. I'm a sucker for pies. Breakfast and pies. Those
Breakfast
are
and pies.
Dude, breakfast, you can't keep me away from breakfast.
Breakfast, I hear you. I'm 100%.
Yeah.
For me, it's like it's fried. It's like the homemade fried food,
chicken.
or they have their pretzels.
Uh-huh.
They have
Over
like
there?
they have pepperoni rolls.
Yeah.
I got hip to that like when I was in the military.
Uh-huh.
I got one of my boys. He's from West Virginia, and he gave me some pepperoni rolls.
Yeah.
Like, yo, what is this? This is amazing. And it'd be like the most simplest thing.
Yeah.
And it's like
So it's just pretzels with pepperoni
inside.
Gotcha.
So it's just like it's almost like a little bit of pizza. Just like pizza
Is there
bites.
cheese in it too?
Yeah. See? Or yeah, you could have cheese dip.
Right,
So
right,
like
right.
beer cheese.
And they sell it at the farmer's market?
Yeah.
Well, see? There you go. Eat it in moderation.
True. Facts. Big
See?
facts.
Eat it in
They're
moderation.
very fattening, but they're very delicious.
Well, let me ask you this as a personal trainer.
Uh-huh.
When you are training somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you create a meal plan for them as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you do create a meal plan, like do you use the term cheat days and stuff?
I do because it's just like
It puts it into their head like
it's kind of just coined in society already. So it's like here's a day where you can kind of let go.
right.
But people don't understand moderation.
Yeah.
So I have to use the term cheat meals. It's like, oh, okay.
Right.
Like there's one of my clients, I have him eating in a calorie deficit from Monday through Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually Sunday through Friday. On Saturday, he eats whatever he wants.
Okay.
And at one point, he literally went to McDonald's with his boys
Mm-hmm.
and just went to town. He said that he ate like, I don't know, like 3 McDoubles, 2 large fries,
Yeah.
and like 20-piece nuggets. But he still lost weight that week.
Right.
And I put that together to say like, it's all about the rewarding factors, and finding motivation is normally the cause of continuation or like sustainability. Because when you don't have something to look forward to, whether it's a micro goal within a week or because most of the time when someone's overweight, it's almost a year
Yeah.
for them to actually lose all their weight,
Right,
or if
right.
not, a couple months.
Okay.
So without those micro goals, they'll never make it to the end.
Like they need to see that finish line, or they need to see like, okay, this is what I have to look forward to.
It's more like the micro wins. Like the thing about if you're a kid in school
Yeah.
and you just did well on a quiz, like a 10-question multiple choice quiz,
Yeah.
but then it's working your way up to the big, I don't know, I remember it was MSA, that's when I was in school.
I got you.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like if you know those little quizzes are going to equate to the bigger tests,
Right.
then you kind of move forward if you think of it that way. But most schools don't put it in that perspective. Like, all right, this is just another quiz, it's
Right.
another test, another one.
Yeah. I mean, I asked that because I kind of brush. I don't like the term cheat days.
I don't either, to be honest.
And I think I kind of brush up against that concept as well because like I feel like it's kind of like it's like the movie The Purge.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're saving up everything for this one day,
Yeah.
and when you do, you're going ham.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like at a certain point, that's just a habit that you build, and I wonder like how sustaining can that be? Like I would much rather it be something like, okay, you know what? Every couple days you can have a dessert, as opposed to this is the one day, or every couple days you can have this,
Right.
As opposed to this is the one day where like your client where
Yeah.
he's just like, oh, McDonald's, open up the menu, you know what I mean? Like open the drive-through, toss it all in. I wonder about that just because I don't really talk to too many personal trainers, and so I was just wondering from your perspective about that, like just the term. Well, you already said you don't really care for the term, but just that habit as well.
So like my thesis is always to do that initially, because this client of mine, he's 21, so he's young, so he needs a little bit more foundation. But when I have an older client, I would advocate just moderation throughout every day.
Right.
Like, but to let go on holidays. Like, don't put yourself too accountable, because what I've experienced now, more likely now, is too much pressure on accountability.
Yeah.
And that makes them anxious. And then when they go to a barbecue, it's like, oh, can I eat that burger and hot dog?
Right.
Like, I don't do that. Like, just go have fun.
Right.
And then the following day, like, keep working on it. As long as you're consistent with your workout and or at least just being active.
Yeah.
Like, not necessarily lifting weights.
Right.
But that's what my personal opinion is the best way to help you out.
Yeah.
But it's have fun. And kind of what you're saying, being happy.
Yeah.
On the internal stuff.
And that's the crazy thing about our relationship with food, because at a certain point in time, food just became abundant.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it went from, we grew up in a generation, I don't know about you, I grew up in a generation where the people with my parents and grandparents, food was really scarce. So as a result, I grew up always hearing clean your plate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't get up from the table until you clean your plate. You can't have juice until you clean your plate. You know what I mean? And so as a result, I attribute that mentality to a lot of the health issues that a lot of people our age or even younger are having, because it's still that mentality of like, there's somebody out there who does not have this.
Right.
Therefore, you need to be the person to eat it all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, still to this day, like, I have a problem if I order meals, like, I have to like clear the plate, like finish it. Like, even like a little like grain of rice.
I have to force myself to be like, no, don't eat it all. You can save some for tomorrow.
Yeah.
You can put it in the refrigerator. We have refrigerators.
Right.
You can save it.
Yeah.
It's okay. And knowing the difference between being full and satisfied. You know what I mean? I that's something that I'm teaching my kids now.
Okay.
For example, my daughter the other day, I knew that it was basically she did not want to finish her food.
Okay.
And we're always like, okay, you don't want to finish it, that's fine.
Was she full or just...
She didn't want to eat.
Okay.
She's 3. So
okay.
at a certain, at that age, it's just kind of like, food is secondary. I'd rather go play. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. Later on, she's going to be like, Daddy, I'm hungry.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at the time, she was just like, oh, I don't want to. I don't want to eat. I don't want to eat. And we're like, oh, okay, you full? She was like, yeah, I'm full. I'm like, okay. And so shortly after, my son was like, oh, what's for dessert? And we always have like those fruit popsicles.
Okay, yeah.
And so he was like, oh, what's for dessert? And we were like, oh, we're going to have the fruit popsicles tonight.
Yeah.
And she looked over like, I was like, oh, no, but you're full. It's okay. Like, we don't want to.
I like that.
We don't want to.
Yeah.
And so she was just kind of like, and so to us, it was just like, okay, you have to know the choices that you're making. Like, we want to make sure that you're satisfied.
Yeah.
But if you're full, there's more to that. There's more to being full. Like, you don't want to overextend yourself.
Yeah.
And end up building the habits of like always walking away from the table like it's Thanksgiving dinner.
Right.
But to your point, our relationship with food is so complicated now.
Like, always a balance between too much and not enough,
and also embracing what you love, but knowing the harm that the potential harm that comes with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And too much of anything can kill you at the end of the day. Even too much oxygen, too much water, those are essential.
Big
but
facts.
too much of it can kill you.
Yeah.
And so we have to have that same kind of mentality with food. Somebody who goes to a cookout and they have barbecue, it's like, well, how often are you going to the barbecue?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's summertime. You might go to a barbecue maybe once or twice in the summer.
Right.
But if you're hitting a barbecue every
weekend,
then you might need to sit back, fall back on the ribs. You know what I mean? It's like, just chill for a little bit.
Well, to piggyback on that, like, I read this book called Sapiens, and like the whole series.
I started it.
Yeah?
I started it. I need to get back into it. Go ahead.
The first like 2 chapters, you probably realize what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it was just like the whole situation of the reason why we love sweet and salty things because we couldn't have it.
Yeah.
You said that earlier.
Yeah.
And nowadays,
scarcity.
everything is so abundant that we don't know how to regulate anymore.
Yeah.
Because before, it was almost nature, letting nature take its toll.
Yep.
If you had to get your own food, then it would be hard to get with the sweets.
Yeah.
Then you get it, and you get that sweet or that quick endorphin.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, yes.
So there's this thing that there's this theory that I have with babies, and this is just me watching my two kids grow.
Okay, yeah.
That it's weird because at a certain point with babies, they start rejecting vegetables.
Okay.
They're just like, no, I don't want it at all.
Yeah.
Some babies, like, as they're getting older, like I want to say maybe like toddler level.
I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I didn't want vegetables either.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking like, between like 2 and 3 years old.
Okay.
And I feel like when babies come out, they don't have the learned behavior that we have. You
What's
know what I mean? Like for example, they don't know what they want.
Oh.
Everything is just instinctive.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of like evolution is at its purest form. Like
Right.
what do I need? What does my body need?
Right.
And watching my kids, I always noticed that they craved more starch and they
Okay.
crave more carbs.
Oh, okay.
And really, to me, what that translates to is like, that's what my body needs at this moment in time.
Uh-huh.
I need to build up those fats so I can have the cute baby cheeks and things like that. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And I feel like once upon a time, when we were hunters and gatherers,
Mm-hmm.
that's what we relied on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we instinctively, we knew that we needed carbohydrates. And so
Mm-hmm.
we would hunt meat. We knew that we needed fruits and berries. And so we would gather the veggies. That was just what our body desired.
Right.
And so as a result, we went for it. And somewhere along the way, through the this new age of food that we have, where it's
Mhm.
like, you can get it, easily.
Yeah.
You can get, whatever you want easily.
Like mass-produced GMO products.
That still that evolutionary taste and desire
Yeah.
for the sugar and fat is still there. But
Okay.
like you said, we can't regulate it.
So let me talk to you about this. This hasn't been proven yet, but I've listened to a lot of like scientists talk about this.
Mhm.
It's about your ancestry.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, and I think I was talking to you about this off air. It's like finding your ideal client.
Yeah.
Like I work best with like Asian males,
Mm-hmm.
but also because we have the same diet.
Mhm.
And when I talk about Asian males, like us as Asian males,
Mhm.
we can digest and regulate rice very well
Mm.
because we've had it in our diet for
Mhm.
centuries.
Right.
So
It's interesting.
whenever I talk to someone who's not Asian, I have to be wary about how I dictate their meal plan.
Mm.
Because if they're of another race, then they might not regulate or metabolize rice as well.
The
because
same way that you do.
it's
Or-
almost a staple for me.
Interesting.
As like my
interesting.
natural carb.
Yeah.
If I were to speak out loud about what I found
Mhm.
was that Hispanics
Mhm.
they're really big into high carbs
Mhm.
because they would normally eat a big meal for breakfast.
Mhm.
They're probably the best for intermittent fasting
Mhm.
because they would be working all throughout the day and then
Mhm.
coming home and then eating like something
Right,
smaller.
like early in the afternoon, because like usually they have dinner. They have dinner earlier. I'm thinking like in South America, they'll have South America or even Spain. Like
Yeah.
they have dinner like around 4.
Yeah.
Whereas like with us, like with
Dinner late.
late, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's late. It's like 6 or 7.
Right.
Yeah.
Or even later,
Mhm.
like the younger you are.
Right. The busier your life is.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No. But I was just thinking like it's funny how if you just think about your ancestry and how they eat, what access of foods that they have,
Mhm.
and how you metabolize. Because I know I work with one of a toxicologist.
Mhm.
He's one of my clients,
Uh-huh.
and we would always talk about how most people, or actually the bigger like well-known scientists,
Mhm.
like Lane Norton,
Mhm.
he would say like the best way to do it is like blood testing.
Mm.
Like if you can test your blood, and I've heard Michaela Peterson, Dr. Jordan Peterson's daughter,
Mhm, mhm.
she goes through a carnivore diet.
Mm.
And she goes through Slack every day, like on social media, saying like that's not good for you, blah blah blah.
Right.
But it works best for her because
Mhm.
whenever she eats like any type of carb or starch,
Mhm.
she like gets really sick to the almost point of dying.
Mm.
And I want to say she's at least 28.
Mm.
So 28 years of life, I
Yeah.
think she knows her body better than anyone else.
So you're saying that the toxicologist, what they were saying is that if you get a blood test, you'll be able to identify, or I guess some kind of genetic test? Maybe?
Yeah, so
To
it's called
identify,
the
like, what markers?
elimination diet.
Okay.
So I think it's about 36, like it's almost like diabetes where you prick yourself.
Yeah.
So they inject you with like 36 needles.
Okay.
Like this is me talking off the top of my head.
Okay.
I'm not completely sure.
Okay, so don't take this with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Google it.
Yeah. Google
There
it.
you go. Google it and
Michaela Peterson's elimination diet.
Google it.
That's the
what
best
it
way
said.
to do it. But basically, you would try foods, or no. Actually, I think they would just prick you the whole time, and each one, if it flares up like a hive or like,
like
a
an
mosquito
allergic
bite,
reaction.
Yeah.
Kind of like what's it? I think it's TPAP or the tuberculosis test. I think.
Yes.
Like they prick you, and then if it flares up, then you know you're. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
I had it done years ago.
But ideally,
I
it's
know
the
what
same
you're
thing.
talking about. Okay.
But then with all those foods, you'll see what works for your body and
Gotcha.
what you're not.
Okay.
Because I know also, it's for Asians, I'll talk about Asians, is the more Oriental, like more North Asian Americans, they get the Asian glow. When they drink, they turn like blush red.
Oh, really?
Because I think they're not accustomed to alcohol.
Drinking alcohol. Interesting. That's really interesting. Like I've been talking about different cultures and how to present Chunky and Friends to different cultures. Simply because one person, the foods that one person might eat, is not going to be reflective of another person, especially in a country like the United States. You know, like somebody might not have the ability to eat Indian food, for example. You know,
curry,
what I mean?
Spices.
They're just like, it's not happening.
Yeah.
And that's not something that I never really thought about, where it's like, find a way to tweak your diet to be healthier. Because really it boils down to, I mean, it's a worldwide crisis at this point, obesity, but really it is about finding a way to eat the foods that you love without letting it harm you.
My biggest thing is like, what's the definition of healthy? Like, there's not really a clear-cut answer to that, to be honest. It's whatever works best for your body.
It is whatever works best for your body. And for me, the definition of healthy, to harp back on this, it is going to the doctor regularly. You know, like that is part of being healthy. You know, not only what you put in your body and the physical activity you do, but getting checked out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Getting checked out, getting the blood work done so that somebody can verify that all the steps you're taking is right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, for example, Michaela. If she goes to the doctor after getting that test done and they're like, you know what, the carnivore diet is working for you. That's what your body needs.
Yeah.
Then God be with her.
Well, so actually, when she does go to the doctor, they can't explain it either. They just know that she doesn't get sick when she
doesn't get sick.
A
but
full
I wonder, like, what
carnivore diet.
I wonder, like, in terms of her blood pressure and her sugar levels or diabetes levels, like, I wonder, like, what that looks like. You know what I mean? Like, like if she's healthy across the board, because like I was saying, it is about, to me, being healthy is about making the right choices.
Right.
Okay. Making the right choices, because there's a sense of pride and there's a good feeling that people have when they're making the healthier choices, because you walk away from your experience and you walk away knowing that you made the right choice that day.
I always thought that was a society thing.
It is a society. Yeah. It is a society thing, but that's the reason why I take it back to building those habits and having moderation. Okay. Because if you are eating too much unhealthy things, then you're gonna feel it physically, and also as you're feeling it physically, it's gonna jump around in your brain, in your mind. You know what I mean? You're gonna be like, oh, I feel bad. I shouldn't have had this. I shouldn't have had that. I went too far. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But I want to counter that real quick, and to think about like what I said earlier about me and rice, or like Asians and rice. Yeah. And so rice is just deemed as a carbohydrate, but when you go talk to someone else, to say like, oh, carbs are bad, and because that's what society says now,
I don't subscribe to that.
They eat less. Yeah. They eat like none. Yeah. And then they get really skinny, and then is that a good thing either?
Nah, I don't subscribe to that, because the important thing is that we have a healthy, diverse diet. Right. You know what I mean? And then I kind of, it really bothers me when people say carbs are bad, because carbs is energy. Right. You know what I mean?
It's like a simple sugar. It's really what it is. It's just sugar. Yeah.
It's sugar. And it's like, that's what we need to function. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like when you're cutting back on carbs, the energy is going to come from somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to burn the fuel somehow, some way. So if you're cutting back on carbs and you're burning the fuel using your own muscles and your own fat,
Yeah.
you know, like that's harmful.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Especially using your own muscles.
Yeah.
That's catabolism. That's what it's called.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, that's not the right way to go.
Mhm.
You know, I just like you. I grew up and to this day, it's like if I have a meal and I don't have rice in front of me,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like a complete meal.
Right.
And it's like my wife is a vegetarian, so we're always eating like, you know, we're always eating different variations of different types of vegetarian meals.
What's her main source of protein, if I could ask?
Well, actually, let me rephrase. She grew up a vegetarian,
Okay.
but she's a pescatarian now.
Oh,
And I
okay.
think that's partially because of me.
Okay.
And so as a result, my kids are pescatarians, but we don't really always have we don't always have fish. It's just an option that we have.
Okay.
But
Like beans.
beans, and also
lentils.
nowadays there are a lot of vegetarian products
Okay.
that are substitutes for meat.
Okay.
So the Morning Star is a big one.
I remember I used to work over in Falls Church at a running store,
Mhm.
and right next door it was it's a vegan place,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was called Satan.
Satin. Yeah,
Satin?
I always say Setan.
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 Okay.
Yeah, Setan is another one. But though that one I only have every once in a while. I don't really care for it too much.
It doesn't taste like a real burger.
No. Well, it's crazy. Have you ever been to Founding Farmers?
Yeah.
Have you ever had the Impossible Burger?
Impossible. That sounds familiar. There's two really big ones right now.
Two big ones right now.
And I've heard McDonald's and
Yes.
Burger King got Impossible Burger.
Yes. So Burger King is doing the Impossible Burger, and to me, I feel like it's crazy because like there's like so much, you know, people are really more conscious about global warming,
Yeah.
and like and climate change as a whole, and studies have shown like basically methane is like a big issue.
Methane,
Like basically
toxic gas.
Yeah, like
Okay.
cows farting.
Okay. Okay.
It's basically the production of creating beef
Okay.
is really harmful to the environment. And it's like, you know, as a result, it's a lot of people are like starting to push back up against that. And so something like the Impossible Burger, where they present an alternative,
Yeah.
that yes, it is GMO, but at the end of the day, it is a different alternative and a healthier alternative in a lot of respects, because you're not getting you're getting the protein, but you're not getting a lot of the fat that you would get from the meat.
Okay.
And so to answer your question, like right now, there are so many different types of vegetarian options out.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I don't know what I would do or what I would be eating if I had met my wife 20 years ago and we lived 20 years ago. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'd be like, what are we eating now? You know what I mean?
Oh, actually, now I think about it, it's called Beyond Meat.
Beyond's the other one.
Beyond Meat's the other one.
So
But I
Beyond-
heard that tastes really good though.
It is good.
Okay.
Beyond they sell in the stores, and that one is you know, all these things. I like I said, it's all about moderation.
Yeah.
Beyond, they sell those in the store. Impossible are only in restaurants.
Oh.
You can't buy Impossible in the restaurants. And personally, I prefer Impossible. Like Impossible, I stopped eating beef and pork when I was about 16. Yeah, I was about 16 years old. I stopped eating beef and pork. I only eat poultry and seafood. As far as meat consumption.
Oh, okay. So just not beef.
Just not. I don't eat
Okay.
beef or pork.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, beef and pork.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
So that would make if I was Asian, that would make my diet very, very tough.
Big facts. Big facts. Go into any Korean barbecue.
Right. It's
Or
like
just anywhere.
I just walk in and walk right back out.
You can always get like Korean barbecue, or not Korean, Korean fried chicken.
exactly. And so I remember what beef tastes like.
Okay.
And the first time I bit into an Impossible Burger, I was in Portland. I had a book reading to do in Portland, and
Yeah.
I went to a restaurant out there, and I was like, "Oh, I've been hearing a lot about this Impossible Burger." They
Yeah.
didn't. I don't think they had them at Founding Farmers here yet.
Nah.
And so I bit into it, and I was like, I looked back at it. I was like, I know it's been a while, but this doesn't taste like a vegetarian.
Does it look
burger.
like a patty?
They make it look like a burger patty. It looks like
Oh.
a smash patty. You know when they smash the patty and it's like all like, you know, all twisted.
Oh yeah.
You know,
yeah.
like patties are usually typically round.
Yeah.
But when they do the smash patties, they
You see like it's like
Yeah,
breaking apart.
Yeah,
towards the
it's
end.
like breaking apart.
Okay.
That's what it looks like. That's
Oh.
what it looks like, and it's delicious. If next time you go to Founding Farmers, just give it a try.
Is that the only place that has it around here?
I think so. I don't think anywhere else has it. If anybody else is watching and you're in the Maryland area, if you know,
Yeah.
hit us up. Hit me up because I love the Impossible Burger
Okay.
at Chunky and Friends on Instagram.
Drop a comment. Yeah.
Drop a comment too.
Yeah.
Just be like, actually, Impossible Burgers are.
If you're in the DMV area,
That's right.
where we are.
Let us know, because all I know is that Founding Farmers has it.
Okay.
Yeah, so hopefully Founding Farmers will send you some money.
Yeah,
Make it
Founding
some our
Farmers.
direction
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
I like that.
Nice little advertisement. Founding Farmers are coming right down the middle.
Well,
But yeah.
just like in respect of time, because I know you got to go.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about shooting your animated series.
Yes. So right now we are working. What I was saying earlier is that we had some creative issues with some people, and so my company, we took it into our own hands to create a proof of concept of
What do you
a proof of concept. Like, we wanted to show what the Chunky and Friends series would look like.
Oh, before the animated series was made.
We did a reel. It's
okay.
a trailer.
Okay.
That's what we did. So we did a trailer so that we can basically take it to meetings and pitch it and say, this is what it looks like.
Okay.
And so fortunately, that's opened up a lot of doors for us.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of fingers crossing and a lot of praying, because with Chunky and Friends, we feel like it's a message that would really resonate with kids in an animated form. The books have resonated with kids. And so
For sure.
The natural transition for the Chunky and Friends series is to do something animated. And the reel that we created is so fun. And I mean, so far on YouTube, we have over 18,000 views. It's
Nice.
really getting a lot of traction. Kids are loving it. Parents are loving it. Anybody who sees it, they really, really enjoy it, because it really captures exactly what Chunky and Friends is about.
Yeah.
Exactly what we want to do, because what we want to do, we want to give bad health a face.
Okay.
And the face that bad health has is the obese. It's like when kids are eating their veggies, when kids are eating their fruits, when they are making the right choices, they are defeating the obese. They are defeating the idea of obesity. They are defeating bad health as a whole.
So now you're like demonizing bad health as a thing.
Demonizing bad health, not the kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times, for a lot of kids, it is their instinct that kicks in whenever they see candy.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's that my body wants the sugar, because evolutionarily, is that, if that's a word,
I think so.
we need sugar. You
Right.
know what I mean? We need sugar to move.
Yeah.
We need sugar to function. We need those carbohydrates.
Yeah.
And so for us, it is a matter of making sure that kids are thinking healthy. So how do we get them to think healthy? Well, that's the bad guy.
Okay.
The obese is the bad guy. Eat your veggies and you will defeat the obese.
Think about nature versus nurture. Like, you're trying to nurture the kids to think that's bad.
Exactly.
I feel like you might be able to relate to this too. Like, growing up, it's always on us. Like, everything was always on us. Like, it's always just nature. Like, it's always your fault. Like, you ate this, you ate that.
Right.
But then I guess you're doing a different aspect or a different perspective to it, and I think that's awesome.
What I'm doing is that I'm helping kids take ownership of it.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, whenever I meet parents with their kids, if their kids have a certain affinity for a certain type of food that's unhealthy, the parent will stand there and point to them like, yeah, that's definitely them. And in my mind, I'm always like, well, you're buying it.
Right.
You know, like, you're supplying it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like they wouldn't have it otherwise. So if the parents are saying it is the child's responsibility, then I'm going to make sure that the child knows the choices that are better to make.
Okay.
That's the mission that I want to take upon with Chunky and Friends, is to make them say, Mom, I don't want to get fruit roll-ups.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's basically candy. Yeah, it has fruit in it, but that's basically candy.
Yeah.
Let's get some fruit cups instead.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, make those conscious decisions.
Right.
And then the parents will be like, oh, okay. Because as a parent, I can tell you that for the most part, if my kid asks for something, I'm going to get it for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's reasonable. Of course, I make sure that he has the right choices in terms of healthy eating and stuff like that. But for a lot of parents, they just want their kids to be happy.
Right.
And so they'll get what the kids want. If the kids say they want fruit roll-ups or a candy bar or whatever, they're going to be like, yeah, sure, you can have it. You know what I mean? But what we want to do is make the kids make the conscious decision to say, I don't want the candy bar. Instead, I'd much rather have an apple. Or go ahead.
I was gonna say, that's awesome, because like, I'm trying to like not demonize like baby food. Like, honestly, for me, since I'm always on the go, like, I'm a big advocate of those little apple juice packets. Like, because it works.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather have that than like
the
sometimes.
apple juice?
Applesauce. That's what I'm saying. Applesauce packets. Yeah, that that gets me going. Like gives
Yeah.
me that enough sugar, especially when I'm playing sports.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's better than to me like a Gatorade.
Like the Gatorade packets and
Mhm.
stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. You know what? I never thought about that. Like, yeah,
but
like
most
why not?
guys are I think adults.
Yeah.
Like why are you eating
Right, right.
baby
They're
food?
They're looking at you like, why you eat baby food? It's like, bruh, if you knew.
if you tried this.
That's cool. That's interesting. I think I'm gonna start plugging that in because
There you go.
because like a lot of these commercials for like the Gatorade products and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
the way they market it, they don't market it to the average person.
No.
You know what I mean? They market it to the person that's like
Who wants to
really
be an elite athlete.
an elite athlete.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that to the average person, they believe that in order to be an elite athlete,
Yep.
they have to take those things. They have to eat those things.
And Gatorade's full of sugar.
Full of sugar.
Yeah.
And it's like when you say something like, you know, I'm a big proponent for drinking water, but when you say something like those applesauce packets,
Yeah.
like that's a really, really good alternative.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, wow, that's, yeah.
Because I work with
You
a lot
about
of
to-
athletes.
Yeah.
I was like, we might do some collabs.
Right. I'm about to start getting you the personal trainer. You walking around with baby food.
Exactly. I mean, it's almost like training like an athlete.
Yeah.
It's just figuring out what they're actually doing rather than what you see them doing.
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate of like not watching hearing what people say.
Yeah.
But watching what they do.
Right.
Because if you just see what they're doing, sometimes it's always an ad.
Mhm.
Most people we're in the world of advertising.
Oh, yeah.
Advertising is really big.
Yeah.
So if someone can get someone famous, like an athlete, to promote whatever
Yeah.
their product is, then it might be just paid.
Yeah, I mean we're being fed. We're constantly being fed like
Yeah.
information, and a lot of the information is bad.
Yeah.
You know, like even when we're just driving down the street, we see the Golden Arch, or we see
Yeah.
or we see the burger from Burger King.
Exactly.
We see a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
We make those connections. Those jingles play in our mind. The idea what we expect when we walked in there are all there.
Yeah.
We're preconditioned to know what we want from certain places. You know what I mean?
And
So
the thing about like brand is so strong.
Mhm.
And this thing about like the little girl from Wendy's.
Yeah.
Like it's a happy place.
Right,
Like,
right,
I
exactly.
don't know, like real
Exactly.
patties.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the animated reel is awesome. We worked very hard on it. Worked with an awesome company to animate it, and it's fun. It's
Okay.
like pure joy, and also it leaves everybody watching it with a little bit of hope.
Yeah.
And I know that if it is, when it is, not if, when
Yeah.
it is produced as a full-fledged series, and you know we've been in talks with different organizations. When it is produced, I do believe that it can make a really, really big impact.
What's your biggest obstacle from just doing it yourselves, like putting it on YouTube and then just advertising it through there?
It is a matter of cost. It
Okay.
does cost a lot to produce.
Okay.
And you know, it'll be easier to have a studio say, because my company already has the infrastructure. We already know who we want to animate it.
Okay.
We know the voice actors that we want to work with.
I see.
You know, so everything, and we already have stories plotted out. What I would like to see is to have a professional television writer come in and basically bulk up what we've done so far. You know,
Okay.
and to say, oh, you know what, all these are great ideas, but this is a television producer. I'm sorry. This is how we could take it to the next level. This is how
Gotcha.
we can really hone in what the series and the brand is about, and also bring forth the information that we're looking to do. Because with the Chunky and Friends series, there's absolutely no way that I want it to be a purely educational program.
Okay.
Okay. The reason why is because as a parent, I know that my kids react to what's fun first.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, happiness.
Exactly. You have to sit there and watch it with your kids, or even have your kids watch it and really have a good time. Because like when you do that, when you're having a good time, whatever information that you receive from that good time is going to get locked into you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if there is, like, for example, you know, they talk about Star Wars.
Yeah.
There was this, no, I'm sorry, not Star Wars, Star Trek.
Okay.
There's a study that was done. Was it a study? No. Yeah, there was a study that was done that basically they were saying that the kids that grew up watching Star Wars ended up becoming engineers, mathematicians, and even to the point where like the guy that invented the cell phone,
Yeah.
invented the cell phone because of Star Trek, not Star Wars. I keep saying Star
Trek.
Star
Yeah.
Trek, because
Yeah.
the way they would flip out and talk into the communicators.
Oh.
And so to me, that's basically the creators'
memories.
They create this program that was so fun for the audience.
Yeah.
But the message that they were receiving, they didn't even realize they were receiving it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And
It's just like, oh, this is what the future can look like.
Yeah.
What does the future look like? Well, people flying around in space, a diverse society, people using cell phones. You know what I mean? People being transported from one point to another instantaneously. Communication being transported from one place to another instantaneously. So with the Chunky and Friends series, what I want to do is to make sure that it's fun. These kids go on these adventures, and the way that they overcome the obstacles is by learning what's important about healthy eating and active play.
Okay.
So, for example, you know, with the Chunky and Friends characters, I don't want to go too deep into it.
Yeah.
But with the characters that we have, each of them have special powers based on the types of food that they eat. They unlock certain abilities, so to say.
Oh.
Okay, so you know, foods have different benefits to your health.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, for example, they say carrots are good for your eyes.
Yeah.
So character's gonna have supervision.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's like, you know, the kids are going to see like, okay, I know that the Chunky character or one of his friends ate carrots, and so they had super sight.
Yeah.
So as a result, when they're sitting at the dinner table, they're eating their characters. It's like, oh, this is only going to help me get super sight. We didn't explicitly say,
Right.
if you eat carrots, you're going to have super sight.
But that's like the underlying, theme.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And so, you know, instead of like directly preaching to kids like, this is what you do, X, Y, Z.
Because it doesn't work like that all the time.
It doesn't work like that. They're not going to receive the message that way.
Yeah.
And not only that, they'll get turned off by it. So.
Did you watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
Yes. Oh, I love that movie.
I was gonna say, like, if you can create like a storyline like that where you have like multicultural characters, if that's the goal, I feel like that would hit hard.
You know, the Chunky and Friends series, all the characters, it is a multicultural group.
Okay.
Visit chunkyandfriends.com. You guys will be able to see the entire, like, read all about the characters, and not only that, you'll watch the animated reel and you'll see all the characters. So one of the characters is Chunky is half Hispanic, half black. Another character is a black kid. We have a white kid and we have an Asian kid. And then Chunky's sister is half black and half Hispanic as well. Okay. And so the reason why I did that is
Miles
because
Morales.
well, actually, Chunky predates Miles Morales.
Really?
Yeah. Because
when did you create this?
I created it in 2000. I came up with the idea in 2008. 2008. And I think Miles Morales was 2011. Because I'm thinking. Because I remember Bryan Michael Bendis had created it in response to the backlash about Donald Glover. And then he killed Peter Parker. I'm a comic book fan as well.
Yeah,
so,
I was gonna say.
So he killed Peter.
That.
Yeah.
You're a big superhero.
right. He killed Peter Parker so that he could create Miles Morales. Right. And so I think Chunky predates it, but
nice.
but no, to the multicultural aspect that you're talking about with the characters, that is something that we want to do, and that's when I was talking about this tussle that I have between talking about the different cultural foods and making the right choices based on your individual culture. It's a story that I'm working on with that because I wanted to have a story where Chunky's visiting different friends and going to their homes and seeing the different types of foods that they eat, and then how he navigates those waters.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, because, you know, growing up in this area, you know, like, this area is
so diverse,
rich with diversity.
Yeah.
You know, and that really informs me. I would go to friends' homes and try different foods.
Yeah.
And it would open up my eyes and open up, you know, when I would see a Korean restaurant, I'd be like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I see an Indian restaurant. It's like, oh, it reminds me.
Try it.
Yeah, I gotta go to that restaurant. So you know, it's something that we're already working on, and something that I'm very conscious about, because I want us to be able to explore the different cultures and the richness of the foods that we have, because, like I said, we do have a difficult relationship with food. It's just about finding that balance.
Okay, if I could ask you one question, I feel like you have the best answer for this.
Okay.
And it's
no pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure. Let me sit up for this one. All right.
It's the power of saying no, especially when you talk about moderation. Yeah. And we have so much abundance of food.
Yeah.
It's like, do you have a personal story or even like a character story in Chunky and Friends where someone could just get like, no, I'm not gonna eat more, or I'm not gonna eat more candy, something like that?
Power of saying no. See, immediately I think about my daughter, who
Okay.
is she's 3 years old,
Huh.
and she is like fiercely independent.
Okay.
And very conscious about what she likes and what she doesn't like.
Okay.
And my wife was telling me a story about how she's at camp, and when she was at camp, they always have things for breakfast and stuff, snacks and things like that.
Yeah.
And this was the very first day. The very first day, she's just meeting everybody for the first time. Mind you, she's 3, going to be 4 in about a month and change.
Okay.
And my daughter does not like applesauce at
Oh.
all. She doesn't like applesauce. It's just not her thing.
Okay.
And a lot of times, when you're a kid and you're meeting somebody new, it's hard to be like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
But the caretaker or the camp counselor offered her applesauce, and she was like, no, I don't like applesauce. And to me, I feel like we don't use the power of no enough.
Right.
Because it's, one, we feel like a lot of times people feel like it's rude
Yeah.
to say no, to reject something that you don't want.
Right.
And when it comes to food, it is important to have a healthy relationship with food.
Yeah.
And to have that healthy relationship, you have to create boundaries.
Yes.
And in order to create those boundaries, you have to know when to say no.
Right.
I don't want it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And, whether it's somebody, and sometimes it goes to even saying no to yourself.
Yeah.
And that's where the importance of moderation comes to play. We were talking earlier about, going to restaurants and, feeling the desire to clean your plate because that's how you were raised.
Right.
It's a very conscious effort that I have to make to say no. You are satisfied. You've had enough.
Yeah. Even if you don't like it.
Even if you don't like it. Even if you don't like it, like draw that line in the sand.
Like, this is enough.
This is enough. I'm not gonna have any more.
So do you think that's just like predicated on just you like teaching your daughter how to be independent, or she just is like that naturally her?
I think it is about teaching her how to be independent.
Okay.
It is about building that self-confidence, because my son is the same exact way.
Okay.
If he doesn't want something, he's going to say, I don't want it, and he's 7. And usually it's around that age that you start being more conscious about how other people feel and
what people feel about you.
And like, you don't want people to see you a certain way.
Right.
And for him, it's like, no, what do I want and what do I not want? Okay. And for my daughter, seeing that early in her life is very encouraging. And that was the first thing that came to my mind when you said that, because she loves all kinds of things, and she loves eating apples. Yeah. But there's something about applesauce that doesn't click for her. Okay. And as a result, she's able to say, no, I don't want it. And the same way I said earlier, when she was eating, she was like, no, I don't want to eat anymore. It's like, okay. We have to, as parents and even as adults, we have to realize that we do have choices. Right. And exercising those choices is very important to living your life. Yep. Because otherwise you're going to be living someone else's life. Facts. And you don't want to do that, because otherwise you're going to be miserable.
Like, so you never want to live on other person's means. I think that's a big thing that I always said to myself too.
Yeah. It's like, yes, you do want to make people feel comfortable and to be liked. Right. That's just who we are. Right. But if it's at the expense of your own personal comfort and your own, and if you're sitting there eating oatmeal and you hate oatmeal because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, then you're gonna have a problem. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's wrap up on that. We have, this is probably gonna be aired around late July. Okay. Do you have anything going on? Do you want to shout out?
Ooh, late July. You know what? I'm in writing mode. Look, this is how you can tell I'm in writing mode. The beard is growing in. September, I'm going to be in Brooklyn. That's the next event. August is a very busy month. I'm going to be traveling. It's more back end stuff that I'm going to be doing in August. July is going to be busy as well, because I'm going to be doing some more back end stuff and also writing, because I'm working on the 3rd book in the series. Simultaneously working on 2 books. The 3rd and the 4th book in the series, and also I'm working on a project that is right now I'm saying it's just for me.
Okay. Personal project.
It's a personal project, but the more I create it, the more I'm like, oh, I can make money off of this.
I should put it out there.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, it's more of a traditional route.
Yeah.
And I can see with the work that I've done with Chunky and Friends, where a publisher would probably be like, oh yeah, we want that,
Okay.
because one of the cool things about what I do is that we get a lot of attention for the work that we put in and the events that we go to, and so it's cool because we're carving our own way.
Yeah.
I
Pioneering a new route.
Exactly. It's like I've in this process I've come across a lot of no. In the meantime, the book sales are saying yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're doing something right.
The YouTube views are saying yes.
Yeah.
And so I think that as a result, because of the hustle and the grind and really putting my neck out there, and pushing forward with all the content, it's making other people say, so what else do you have?
Right.
We like that, but do you have something more? I guess one of the comments that I heard is something more not universal, but
broad,
something broader, something more, something that can be marketed broadly.
Oh.
Because Chunky and Friends, it's an uphill climb trying to make people see that, trying to make the powers that be, the people that hold the purse strings, to make them see that, look, this is something that everybody will love.
Okay.
Not until someone is at an event with me, do they see like, oh, parents and kids love this, and that's crazy because like
you might be the next SpongeBob.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it's something that not a lot of people can see outright, but then when they see like parents and kids enjoying it together, then it's like, oh, I see it now. And so the work is putting that out there, and a lot of the other stuff that I have going on, it is more mainstream. That's the word I was looking for.
Gotcha.
More mainstream content.
Okay.
And as a result, I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting on it, but I'm like, yeah, this is probably what they've been asking for.
Right.
And so I'll come back and announce that. Maybe I won't be wearing the Chunky and Friends shirt that time. I'll be wearing a different shirt.
Ooh. Just to drop some gems.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. On my side for Sumo Lifts, we're holding an event for females. It can be presented by Priscilla Johnson and Stephanie Morfesis. They'll be holding an event, like a seminar on teaching women that lifting weights doesn't make you bulky. So that's going to be interesting. That's still TBD. We're going to figure out a date for that. But just keep that on the lookout. And where to find you?
ChunkyandFriends.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Chunky, the letter N Friends, and also on Instagram, Chunky and Friends, all written out. We're also on Facebook, of course.
Everything will be linked in the description for
That's
YouTube. Right. Same thing for me, at Bryan Sumardi on Twitter, Instagram, B Sumardi, Facebook.
Yeah.
That's that.
And definitely visit our YouTube page. On our website, you'll be able to see the animated reel, but check out the animated reel. It's seriously fun. It's a lot. It's really, really cool.
Big facts. When I saw it, I was like, yo, I got to get Joseph back. I got to get back on the podcast to figure out what's going on.
I'm happy that we were able to do it because, like, I think, I want to say maybe last year, you were like, when are you coming back? And I was like, and everything was just like all over the place. So like I said, July is kind of like my rebuild month where I'm working on the next book and trying to get some more content out there. And so when you hit me up, I was just like, oh, my last event, for a little bit is in August, is end of June. So I was just like, let's get it in.
Make it poppin'.
Let's get it in first weekend in July. So everything worked out, man. Thanks again.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you too, man. Appreciate you too.
Until next time. See you later. Boom.